Yo, what's going on? Okay, I'm back with another episode of the WhyNotI podcast, the WODCAST. Got a special guest with me today. Got Lo. She's like a big sister, bad girl, Lo.
I know. I'm like a big sister, mom, baby mom. We share a cat. We actually don't. It's his cat, but he stays at my house a lot. So now in my head, I'm the baby mom to his cat.
It's about co-parenting. Like,
right?
It's important.
Yeah, we co-parent now.
I'm learning
we
now.
Co-parent a cat. So cute.
Yeah, obviously, I've known you for a while. One of my best friends, girlfriends, known you for a while. Really beneficial to me. You've helped me a lot. Conversations we've had, this, that, and the other. You know, the stressful times. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Even outside of like my boy. So yeah, man, just value you a lot. And everything you've been through, I think will just be really valuable for listeners, especially like young girls, even older women that are older, that have gone through certain things in life. I feel like your experiences can really help people in a number of ways. So I definitely wanted to get you on the episode. So for people that don't know Lo or Lauren Thomas.
Lauren Thomas Johnson. Everybody gets that wrong. It's such an easy name, but I can never get it wrong. It's because it's a Johnson.
Because I'm used to calling you Lo or Lolo. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So then when
people call me Lauren Thompson Johnson, but do you know what the problem is? There's a BMXer, who's a GB BMXer called Lauren Thompson Johnson.
Mad.
So that's why everyone gets us confused. And she's mixed race. So,
Swear now?
Yeah.
Crazy. So for people that don't know Lolo, who is Lolo? Like, how would you describe yourself? Like, I could describe it, but...
Oh my God, who is Lolo? Lolo is funny. No, I'd like to think of myself as a mom. I'm a mom. I am still on this journey of life, growth. Ex-hooper, fitness coach, snatch by Lo. That's not even a shameless plug because it's my stuff, so I'm gonna plug it regardless. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why people say shameless plug. I ain't got. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, I got your thing.
Shameless, whatever. It's my thing.
Yeah,
PT. Just, I'd like to say I'm a nice person.
Ex-hooper.
Yeah. Ex-hooper.
Mother.
Yeah.
Stepmom.
Coach. Online fitness coach. PT. Girlfriend. Daughter.
Socialite. This, that.
Oh, social. Used to be.
Not
anymore. I'm old now. I'm almost 34.
Mad thing.
I've been out that life. Ryan's gone back into it because now he wants to do DJ.
And he's on the mic too.
I know.
Mad. So tell us a little bit about your background. So for people that don't know yet, like where you from, what's your upbringing, stuff like that.
So I am from Stockport, a little town in Manchester, the south of Manchester. I'm an only child, raised by my mum and my dad. They're still together to this day. Shout out to them, like 47 years together, and
that's
like
the goal.
Yeah, 47 years together and like 20 something years married.
They're sick though as well.
Yeah, they're so funny. My dad's Jamaican. Both of my dad's parents are Jamaican, and my mum is white British. So yeah, been brought up in a dual nationality household. I started playing basketball when I was about 8 years old, moved to America to play at 16. Played there, moved to America, played at 16, played in high school in Virginia, and then from Virginia I went to junior college because of the clearinghouse. You'll know all that jazz. If you're a basketball player, you know what that means. The clearinghouse are not your friend ever. Because of the clearinghouse, I had to go to junior college. Did not want to go to junior college. Like, that was kind of like a taboo in the basketball world. Like, if you had to go to junior college, you were like dumb, or you just weren't very good at basketball. But mine was because, to cut a really long story short, you have like a sliding scale with your SAT, and basically they didn't take any of my American grades.
Mad.
They only took my last 2 years. So they only took year 10 and 11 of English school with my SAT.
Which is mad.
So with the slidings, obviously I would have had to have got like near to a perfect score, because let's be honest.
You can't miss 2 years of schooling, and like, they even tried to say to me, we can't count your last 2 years. So I'm like, what kids do you know that are going to university at 16? 16. You guys are going at 18, so I've got to have done something.
Exactly. So they didn't take on that. They disregarded all of my American grades, so they only took my last 2 years of school, and obviously my GCSEs weren't great. So with the sliding scale, I even took the ACT, was it? Yeah, that wasn't enough. I was just a couple of marks off that, so I had to go to junior college. Ended up winning back-to-back national championships. Yeah,
Wow.
got 2 rings. Became a McDonald's All-American.
Let's get back to that. Anyway, so before all that,
yeah,
what was it like growing up in Stockport, like Greater Manchester? You've got a white mom and a black dad, but you're growing up in the household. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people that come from mixed families, sometimes the mom's black, or like it can be either way, but obviously the mom's the dominant parent. What was it like keeping like your identity and your culture? Because that's a big factor for a young person growing up. Do you know what I mean?
So I will be really honest. I did have an identity crisis, and I think a lot of people that come from like dual heritage families, you do get a bit of that, because it's almost like, I think it's almost like you're not white enough for the white kids and you're not black enough for the black kids, but not like they do it on purpose. Does that make sense? It's just what's in you, how you feel. I know for me, it was never in my house though I felt like that. It was always outside, and society made me feel like that. Like my mum, I'm really lucky, because it was funny, I went down like a rabbit hole, you go down them on TikTok the other day, and it was basically this mixed girl. She had a white mom and a black dad. Didn't know her dad, and her mom remarried this white guy, and they were just like basically blatantly racist to her daughter. And just like the things the mum would say about her hair and how they'd speak on it, and you don't ever think of, because obviously I will say I am privileged in that respect, because my mum has never, even the white side of my family have never ever seen my colour, and it's never even been something they speak on, or they even say the wrong terminology when speaking about, like and like even when it came to my mum with my hair, like my mum would never, to be honest, my dad always did my hair, because my mum's just always said I can't even do my own hair, so I can't do your, do you get what I mean? My mum's never been someone that's like, my mum's always had really short hair.
Yeah, she's not like, oh, I can't do that
hair.
Type
no,
of hair.
She's like, I just can't do hair. Like, my mum's always had a bob. If you know Jane, she's bobbing, because she's like, the less hair I've got, the easier my life is for herself. Yeah. So, and my mum's always really pushed like my curly hair. She's always pushed me to love that. It was always the outside. Like, it was always, I'd go to school, and predominantly the girls in my school was white and had my hair straight today, but they all had really straight hair, and it was always made me think, well, I want that. You always want as well what you've not got. Yeah. So it was always pushing that, and I would never forget my mum one time came in my room and I was ironing my hair, and she absolutely lost her mind.
You mean like
with an iron? I used to get a thing. I used to get a blanket here, and I used to iron my hair.
What about straighteners? You just said no. Obviously, you just.
Well, straighteners back in the day was like not really like
a thing,
and they weren't really great for curly hair. Like they just didn't really do much. So I remember my mum absolutely lost it, and she sat down with me, and I'll never forget. We watched Janet Jackson. We watched the Janet Jackson tour. My dad wasn't there; he was on tour because my dad's in a band, and we she didn't make me sit down, but she was like, "Oh, Janet Jackson's on." My mum loves Janet Jackson, and in this, it was when Janet Jackson had. You know, she had all the braids, but the braids were like curly at the end. And she had like had them in all these. She like had it up, she had it down, and I remember my mum, bless her, sat there and was braiding. She was braiding my hair, and then she was like, "Do you see?" Like, and was just talking me through it, and I'll never forget that. But it just does make. I will say in my house, and I'm not very close with my black side of my family. That's just how it's always been. If I'm honest, I've not really been that close to them. And I just think that's because of back in the day, my mum and my dad, you know how it was back then.
Yeah. Black guy,
white girl. They didn't really take to my mum, so they didn't really take to me. And then growing up, I guess I've just been so lucky that my mum's side of the family are just amazing. Like they're just a really great. I'm so lucky for that side of the family that I've never really felt like I've missed out. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So I've just I'd say when I went to America, I probably got more of like, I would say my black side, but then and no, because my dad is black. So I lived in a house. That's my son's called Hendrix because I lived in a household where we listened to Jimi Hendrix, Marvin Gaye. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't ever introduced to that side. Like, I was really cultured. We ate all kind of Jamaican food in my house. Like, it wasn't like, no, we're just having like Sunday dinner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we ate all that kind of stuff. So it's not. I would say I'm actually really lucky, and I'm very thankful for the upbringing that I've had, especially with my mum and dad, and especially with what they went through growing up. With like, my mum's family didn't check for my dad, and my dad's family didn't check for my mum, and then my mum and dad was like, forget both of you. We're just doing our thing, and that's exactly what they did. And then they lived their life, and they've always kind of been in their own little bubble. So that's why when my mum and dad eventually got married, oh my gosh, it was so funny. My dad was like, I don't care who comes. I just say, me, you, and Lauren. I really don't care who comes. If my family come, they come. If they don't, they don't. Like, so that was good. But I'm actually really, really lucky. I would say it's been more like outside. Like, when I moved to America, I realized how like being mixed was just. I felt almost a pressure because from especially
to pick.
Like,
what age? First off, like, what age? Because obviously, to even go to America on scholarship and all that, that's a huge thing. Male, female, doesn't matter. Like, as a British basketball player, to be able to be that good, to be one of the top in the country, to be able to be wanted overseas, is an amazing thing. So first off, how did you even get into basketball? Because when you go to the States, you've got the basketball. People just like, as a little kid, you just want to go to America. You're not thinking about life outside of basketball.
And I didn't, because I did play my first like few games,
which is mad, because like even the identity crisis of like when I went over there, I look American but I'm not. So now they're like, you are one of us but you're not, so now you're like an outcast. Now you got to kind of prove that you're black. That was exactly how. Do you know what I mean? So how did you start playing basketball and even get over to the States? So
when I was about 8 years old, I was in primary school, and like a bunch of coaches came and did like a taster session, basically what we do now as basketball players. Did like a taster session. And I absolutely loved it. I remember, and I used to be a dancer at the time. I used to have dance classes. I was not very good. I was a ballet dancer. I was too heavy on my feet. I was like boom, 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 boom. And I remember they came and they did like a taster session, and I remember them saying, if you want, come to Saturday at Reddish, you get 3 free ones, and then we'll put you on a team. And I remember begging my mum and dad, because I had my dancing, begging like, please, after dancing, can we go? It'll all fit. And I was just kind of, without like tooting my own horn, I was just kind of natural. Like, it just, I wasn't uncoordinated. I was just could do it. And I remember we went, and I just absolutely loved it. And from there, I played at Reddish, and then that's when I moved to Manor High, played under Joe Forber, played with Jeff Jones, met Georgia, his daughter. Me and Georgia became 2-ball champions at like 8 and 9. We did that. And then it was at 16, I think, because I'd moved to Manor High, I'd seen all the men's go, like the Callum Joneses were going, and the Alan Metcalfs and the Harrises, and I saw all them had gone at like 18, and I just remember thinking, off to the States, and I just remember thinking, and Julie Page went, and Andrea Congreves had gone, but they all had gone at 18, and I just remember saying to my mum, I can't wait for another 2 years. Like, I can't go to college here. I absolutely hate school. Like, I'll fail out. I'm gonna not go. I was just really honest with my mum. I was like, I need to get there now. Like, is there any way at 16 I can go? And my mum was like, if you're serious about it, we can inquire. So we're speaking to Joe. Joe got me in contact with a coach from Liverpool that I used to play for, because that was another thing. Because I was good. I always had to play up, because if I ever played my age group, it was just never play my age group. I get 52 points in the first half, and I'm like, well, what am I playing for? So I always wanted to play up. So I played for a Division 2 women's team in Liverpool, and it was run by Henry Mooney out of Ellesmere. He was from Ellesmere Port, and he basically knew he'd sent players, so he'd like helped with Alan Metcalf going and stuff like that. He knew my coach Michael Teasley, so he must have just asked Teasley, like, could you have like a women's player from overseas? And basically Teasley was like, let me look into it. And she's send me film. Sent a film, and Teaser was like, absolutely. And yeah, I told my mum, and my mum was like, right, are you
sure.
serious? Because if you're serious, me and Dad are gonna go with this. So I was like, Mum, I've never wanted anything more than ever in my life. And she was like, right. And then they booked the flight. My mum and Dad flew out with me. They were there with me for the first 2 weeks. And my dad said...
She didn't visit the school before you went over there?
No, I like seeing videos. I'd spoke to the coaches. We'd had conversations, but it was like I was going. And I remember I actually lived with my coach's mom, which was like, you're not really supposed to do that. But host family. I lived with my coach's mom, which she was, honestly, Mama T was just...
The fact you call her Mama T, I'm like,
Mama T is like my favourite person. And I think that's also what helped me. I think because I lived with like a black family, and it was just love. And it was like...
What state? What city?
I was so my school was actually in Virginia, but I lived in DC, Washington DC.
They're so welcoming in
yes,
DC.
It was like...
You treat like you're theirs.
So that's exactly what it was with Mama T. So I just think it was just so good. And I remember my dad said, I knew you were ready and I didn't have to worry. So we went, imagine I landed, we got off the plane, we went and visited the school, did all the look around the school, and at like 2:00 we came back, met Mama T, was chilling there, parents were chilling there, Mama T ordered food, Teaser was there, another girl, Ebony, shout out Eb, who I lived with, she was already in the house, we're just chilling, she was showing me the room, and then it was my mum and dad had booked a hotel near Mama T's, and mum and dad was like, right, come on, we're gonna go now, and I was like, and Mama T obviously said, you can stay here, and remember this is my first night there, and I said to my mum and dad, I went out to the car and I was like, I'm just gonna stay here, and they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, if I don't stay here now, I'm never going to do it. I can't for the next 14 days because mum and daddy are here.
Yeah, then when they leave... Stay
with you in the hotel for 2 weeks and then be like... Because they booked... That's it. Mum and dad actually just booked me my own room. Okay. And they were like... Just so I was like on my own. So I was getting used to it, but I was that close to them. I remember saying that, and my dad was like, I knew, obviously dad's to mum are different. My dad was like, that's there. When I had the confidence, I was like, I knew my baby was ready. When mum got in the car, and she said she cried the whole way to that hotel, like, she's gone.
That's crazy you had that experience, because when I first went, straight by myself. Yeah,
I was just like, nah, we're only children though, innit?
Yeah, I know, but like, my mum didn't even come over. So it was like, airport, like, I'm feeling sick, but I'm like, I've wanted this for like 10 years. But then I'm at the airport and I'm kind of like, you know, you're waiting.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, the gate's opened now. Don't have to go yet.
Yeah.
Gate's closing in 10, like, you're going to have to go. And then it's like, I got to say goodbye. And then you've got however long to go there.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I'm in the air, but I'm not in America yet, but I'm not in England anymore. Am I ready? Am I not ready? I don't know. I've got no one to talk to. Yeah. And I'm just looking around like, then when you start hearing the accents, you're like, you're American?
Yeah, like this is reality now.
Yeah, and then like, so you've done that now. You've gone to school. How was it? Was it high school? Did you go?
Yeah, so I went to high school first. I went to actually a private high school. It was a Catholic high school. And literally the only black people that went to the school was people that played basketball. So the men's and women's team, basically.
You guys got on?
That was it. And I remember I got there, Now, I wasn't aware that school and ball, like, went together. I just thought...
you're a basketball player?
I was just playing basketball. So I didn't realise the two things, like, if you don't do school, you don't get ball.
Oh, you thought I could just hang out and at my GPA?
Oh, I could just live my life. So I learned the hard way. So we had so I got there and we had like, my coach had put our basketball team in like we were like an AA, we put us in like an AAU tournament, but as our high school. So I have pissed about all week. I have not done anything I'm supposed to have done. I had homework for religion, didn't do it. I had homework for English, didn't do it. I had homework for math, didn't do it. And now at the end of every week, what they used to do at school, because it's a private school though, everybody's GPA for the week used to go on a board.
GPA for the week?
So that's how they did it. So for the week, your GPA would be like, you could have had a 4.0 for that
They're
week.
known to do that on purpose, because if you do it like every quarter of the year or something, you've been playing hella games.
So then they did it every week. So it came out, and obviously mine was 0. Mine was awful. Wow. So I've gone into the basketball gym, and Teaser was like, where are you going? And I was like, to go get changed. He was like, have you not seen your GPA? And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, no, honey. If you don't do the work, you don't get on this court. So I was like, okay, can we have a redo? I didn't realise that these two things. And then that was what kicked me up my bum. And
what's
I was
nuts about that is, it's kind of like, in America, there's like one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So like my high school, because we was like so highly ranked, bro, like if you don't want to be in class, be in the gym, getting shots up, chilling. The teachers are probably just going to give you the grades anyway so you can play. Or you go to the other schools where it's, you don't do the work. I don't care about, you want to be a basketball player, you need to do the grades.
See, what it was with my school though is, so my year when I got there as a junior was the first year we went in. So we were, so like I said, I lived in DC, but I went to school in Virginia. So it was like an hour commute every single day to school.
Wow.
So the Virginia League was obviously a completely different league to the DC leagues.
Yeah.
So we basically played all the private schools, which we killed.
Yeah.
So the year I was a junior was the first year that Teasley put us in basically like the metropolitan area. So we played like Kevin Durant School. We played DeMatha. We played Montrose Christian. We played Oak Hill.
I played all them schools too.
We played all of them, and that was the first year. So that year I actually I was first team All Met.
Wow.
I think there's a picture somewhere online and I'm like this with Kevin.
That's some good teams though, you know, like top high school teams.
So we, so that was the first year. I think we played Monica Wright. She went to Virginia in the end and went to play in the WNBA, but me and her were on the first team, played her high school. But that was the first time we were like not in the private league school.
Yeah, now you're playing hoopers.
Yeah. So, and we actually had to play. And it was so funny. Oak Hill came to school, and their cheerleaders were different. They would do. So you're on
like bring it on.
Oh my gosh! So we're on the free throw line, and we're like this, because obviously we're going to these private schools, and the cheerleaders are like, you know what I mean? Give me an L, and where they were like, and we're like. So it was like, that was really good. But yeah, so we got in that, and then I think after that year.
So you went to high school, did you do 2 years?
I just did 2 years. I was going to reclassify, but Teaser was like, no, you read.
2 years is more than enough. Like most of us go for like a year, and you got to do so much in 7 months. You got to get accustomed to it, play, get minutes, do work. Then you got to get ready, and hopefully you've got some offers you've been seeing.
Well, after my first year, Teaser was like, so in that summer, I'd gone and played in Estonia with England. Jeff Jones was the coach, and I'd played with Azania, Gisette.
Sick.
We played in Estonia, and then when I came back, so I came back a little bit early to do a little bit of summer school, because when he sold it to me as you can get half your credits done in the summer, I was like, absolutely, that is my journey. I think I did summer school every single year after that.
Yeah, because
lighten the load, absolutely. So when I'm there in the summer, Teaser's like, so do you know anyone that, like, have you got any more people out in England? And I was like, yep, Azania and Joss. I was like, yep, I know 2 people. Yeah. They would love to come and play. So that's when I got Z and Joss. They came. Jocelyn ended up living with Ebony in Hagerstown. Yep, they came. And Z ended up then moving into Mama T's with me.
Sick.
So it was me, Z, and then Tiara lived in that house. Tiara was Teasley's niece who went to the school as well and played on our team. So, and that, I'm not gonna lie, was just
amazing.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like the house popping, fun. Me and Z did some things we shouldn't have done, like we stole Teasley's car. We only told him this like recently. Yeah, and he was like, I knew.
Yeah, I knew all this time.
He was like, I knew, but I couldn't prove it, but I knew it. Yeah, we were bad. But it was just so much fun. And then from there, that's when the clearinghouse did what they were doing. And
what offers did you have?
So right out of high school, I had Marquette, NC State, Cincinnati. No, I got Syracuse when I got to junior college. So see, with me, because I committed really early.
Who did you commit to?
Marquette. So I went to Seton Hall. I went on a visit to Seton Hall. And obviously they took me around. So Seton Hall's in Jersey.
Them visits be popping.
They took me to Jersey. So it's in Jersey, Seton Hall, but they took me to New York. Now, obviously,
yeah.
I was like, remember calling my mum and be like, I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Because mum and dad were like, no, Lauren, but you'd realise the school's in New Jersey. I'm like, no, I'm coming here. It's like
Jersey City's popping. It's only a little train.
Yeah,
or...
and I was like, nah, it's 40 minutes from the city. And they were like, no, but how often? Like, usually. And I was like, no, it's sold. I'm coming here.
Yeah.
But then I went to Marquette, and I am a very, without sounding really fairy, I'm a very, even as a kid, I was a bit like this. Like, I'm very energy. I go off vibes and how I feel in an environment. If my soul feels settled, then that's where I want to be.
So you got the sage all up in the
Oh, yeah. And I went to Marquette, and it just felt like home. It was, we didn't have a football team. We didn't have any of that, which, yeah, you could probably say was a downside, but then it wasn't because
everything's basketball.
Oh my God, it was all basketball. So then I think for me, it just felt like home. I loved that it was so close to Milwaukee. Like, it was literally, it's not New York, but it's just, it was popping. I love that the campus like sat literally in the middle of like Milwaukee, and then right over this side was like the hood, but like the popping area, like the nail shops that I needed to go to. Like,
go Waffle House.
I can do all that, and I just really like that. And I love that campus. You had everything on one side, so all school was just on one side, and then like living, food was on the other side. So it's just like really easy to navigate. And then right at the end, you couldn't go any further, was the aisle where we played. And I just remember, and then I called my dad and was like, I just really love it here. And then my position coach was actually called Kira, and she was just sick. Like, she just reminded me of my mom. She was just really made me feel safe, and I thought, you know what, I'm so far away from home. I can't go where there's glitz and glamour. I need to go where I feel safe. So
how was it at JUCO? Like, how did you feel when you got deemed ineligible by the clearinghouse, because like it's some BS, and now you have to go JUCO to get back to Marquette? How did you feel?
So this is why I do love Marquette. So when they heard about that, they were fighting the clearinghouse for me, got lawyers on it, everything.
Yeah, clearinghouse don't care.
They didn't care. So then they actually recommended me Kirkwood. They knew Kim, my coach, and because I'd expressed to them like I've committed to your school because it made me feel like X, Y, and Z. They were like, Kim is the perfect person for you then. And if I'm honest, I was obviously attitude low, pissed. Not want to go. But I could honestly say JUCO was probably, I loved high school, I loved Teasley, don't get me wrong, I loved that experience, and I loved Marquette, but junior college is probably what shaped me, and it was the best. Kim is probably one of the best human beings I've ever met, my coach. He helped me develop as a player, as a woman, as a human being, as a everything. Like, he was honestly amazing. Like, I didn't talk to him the whole way because I was fuming.
Yeah, screwing at you there.
Yeah, and then he was like, all right, so we know that you're fuming, but so I'm still going to like show you around your apartment. And he just spoke to me as if to like fix up, kind of thing. And then we actually went undefeated my first year at junior college. Yeah, we went like 36-0 and won the championship. And he was like, he'd stop practice and be like, everyone, we've got to stop. Everybody get your tiny violins out because Lauren's sulking again. And then obviously I couldn't not laugh. I'd be like, all right, fair enough. And he like would say things like that, and then he'd just do other things like, oh, everybody, Lauren's hurt herself. And I'd be like, right, okay, like, chill out, man. But then he was sick in the respect of, like, he'd come up to me and be like, have you spoke to your mum? And I'm like, no. He's like, come to my office, you need to call your mum. And I'm like, and in junior college, I actually lost two of my really good friends. Harris Charalambos, who played at Toledo, he died of a heart condition. And then literally, he died in the October. And then in the March, I lost my best friend from high school, Emma. Wow. She died in a car accident. Crazy. And she died she died the day before my championship game. Wow. So I played the semi-final, called her to be like, oh, I played like rubbish. She cussed me. She was like, fix up, man. Da, 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 da. We had like a freak snowstorm in Virginia. She basically got in a really bad accident. And then she passed, like, I got the call that she'd passed away. And just Kim was just amazing how he navigated it. He was like, he got me a new room with like my teammate. You know, you have teammates you're closest with. With them two, like, bless him, went and bought me like all the candy he knew that I liked. He
Yeah,
just held it
yeah,
like
just comfort.
handled it a bit like a man, but then he was just such a dad about things.
Yeah.
He
Here if you need me.
here if you need me. Called his wife, flew his wife in because he was like, she needs like I'm a dad, I'm a man, but she needs a mom, like she needs. Flew his wife in, like, and then he was just amazing. He just handled all of it well. Even with Harris, handled it really, really well. So I'd say because they were two big moments in my life, I'm so glad they happened with him as my coach. And then he just got the best out of me. Then the next year, he was like, look, all them sophomores have gone who were like, so I had like Jasmine, Kayla, Court, who were like, you've
gone from junior to
so he was like, I need you to step up. Like, you are now the sophomore on this team. You need to, I don't need attitude low, I need leader. Lauren. And I think that's what he helped me propel into like that part of my game. I think before that I was very much so in myself, in my head, you know, that if you miss, it's the end of the world and all that stupidness. And I think he really propelled me into being like, right, next play, let's go, leader, like, come on, let's get this drill going, like. And so he made me the captain of the team that year. And I think we lost one game.
Do you think that period of your life of him turning you from how you was into like leader Lauren, do you think that kind of helped twist your mindset outside of basketball as you as a person as well?
Absolutely. He helped me change as a, just even like things like I had a boyfriend in junior college and he was just not a very nice guy. And he just talked to me about that. Like, would you want this for your daughter? Would you want it? And he just talked to me like that. But absolutely, like how he made me turn from being like, I don't know how you'd say, almost like the sixth man kind of player to like leader Lauren, you are our three. You are gonna, I'll never forget, we played this one team and he hated the coach. Now my coach was petty, hated the coach. We were beating him by like 40 and he said to me, you're finishing this game with more than 30 points. Right now you've only got 17. You've
run it up.
He was like, you got 2 more quarters, fix up. And I kept passing the ball, so he subbed me off and he was like, you passed the ball again, you're not playing for the rest of the season. And he was like, and I want you to play full court defense. I'm like, but coach, we're up by 40 points. He was like, I don't care. So I was like, right, okay. But he was just that kind of guy. He was just honestly, he was just such a sick guy. So yeah, then when you go to junior college, you get 3 more visits. So you get your 5 in high school, but then you get an extra 3. So I went to Cincinnati, and I did back to Marquette, and then I went to, did I go to NC State?
Meanwhile, you were still committed to Marquette.
But I was still committed to Marquette, but Marquette even encouraged me, like, just take your visits, man. Go and
enjoy, like we're still here.
And then on my Marquette visit, actually, my mum actually flew out to come and see, they flew my mum out or something like that.
Probably did,
I think they flew my mum out to come and see Marquette with me. So that was really nice. She got to see that. And then if I'm honest, I went to Cincinnati. It was not my journey. The coach kept touching me, but not inappropriately. He just kept like making jokes, and I was like, "Bro, you're not my journey. Stop touching me. I'm not a touchy me. You know me. I don't even do hugs. And you want to tap me on my arm every time you make a joke? No." So then I went to Marquette, went with my mom. She came, which was really nice. She got to see it, and my mom was like, "Yeah, this is the place for you." And then I remember being like, I'm coming to summer school, right?" And they were like, "Well, are you sure? Like, when your season ends, like, summer school literally starts like 2 weeks later." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't need to go home."
Because I want to get my get ahead.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need to go home. I was like, my mum was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Jane, honestly, I have 30 credits to do in 1 year. I'm trying to bang out 15 in summer school, so at least I've only got chilling. So I can have seven a semester, like something like that. I'm not trying to do, because I had girls in my class on my team that was doing like 12 credits a semester.
I had some semesters I had to do 24 just because credits didn't pass over.
No, not my journey.
You want to come like, I got homework, bro.
No, so I do like 10 credits. I try and bang out like 10 credits in the summer.
Like 1 or 2 classes. And
then I also did it because I remember Kira was like, if you bang out more classes, you don't get as many morning classes. I was like, you're like,
hell yeah.
She was like,
first class at 1:30. I can go get shots up.
That was exactly me. I was like,
go get lunch.
So me and Jimmy Butler used to go to the gym. I'd be like, "Jimmy, when's your class?" He'd be like, "I ain't got class till 2. I'd be like, "Let's go." So we'd walk down from the aisle. We'd go and shoot. But yeah, that was, and I'd have a class at like 2, a class at 4, and then I'd have practice. I was like,
you're laughing because some semesters I had class at 7. Why you've got a class start at 7 a.m.?
Oh, I used to have days off. My last semester, I had no class on a Friday. I had no class on a Friday and no class on a Monday. But that's because my last semester I said to Kira, I'm taking 12 credits. She's like, are you sure?
Do it early, and if you've got the right guidance counsellor, you can get you can get it done. Okay, we're going to take this class here, then because next year, then you got to do this one, and then you can have 2 days off and then bar.
Yeah, that's what I had. My guidance counsellor was Tom. His name was Tom Ford.
Dr. Ogle.
Yeah, Tom Ford. He was sick. Tom went like this to me. Look, if you take these classes now, you'll get a Monday and a Friday off. I said, say what? I said, you're telling me. And obviously, in my head, I'm thinking as well, this is my last year.
I need to go to the gym.
Not even that, my season ends. So you're telling me I can do a party?
Oh, yeah, after March.
I can live a regular life for a little piece.
After March,
and have a 4-day weekend. You're mad. Okay.
Sick.
Cool.
What was it like playing at Marquette? And obviously, you done that. You had another 2 years there. You were playing at Marquette. You've been now you're playing high level.
Mm-hmm.
Every basketball player's dream is, I want to play high level, especially in the States, and then obviously move on to professional, either a WNBA or overseas. What was it like being around NBA type caliber players, the atmosphere, and then ultimately decision of where to go pro once you graduated?
It was, I loved it because obviously we played it was called the Big East back then. It's all changed now.
Not the Big East anymore?
Is it? No, it's not the Big East. They've all changed the conferences
now.
Wow. It's like still the same team, but I don't think
like Villanova, Syracuse, all them guys.
Yeah, so we got to play Syracuse, UConn, Villanova.
West Virginia.
West Virginia, Virginia. So we, Georgetown. So it was really good.
Competition.
Obviously, because I'm playing Maya Moore. On a Wednesday, I'm playing Maya Moore, and then on the next day, I'm playing somebody else that's now in the WNBA. So it was really good. It was a great experience. And then obviously you had the men's team, and then because we had the Milwaukee Bucks and our gym, so our gym used to be like the shoot around gym. So I'd be coming into practice, and LeBron James is just in our gym getting shots up.
Sick.
And it's mad because at first it's like and then it gets to the point.
Yeah, it's like gaff.
Well, it gets to the point like one time we walked in and what's his name? Nowitzki was like shooting, and then me and Erin walked in and we're just like shooting with Dirk, like it's just like it's normal.
Yeah.
I just turned around and was like, this isn't real, like this shouldn't be real life, like I shouldn't be walking into
Hey, what's up, Dirk?
Yeah, like, you alright, Dirk? Hi, love, you alright? Because obviously I'm dead English. I was like, you alright, love? I got a game today, play the box. I'm like, come on then, let's get some shots.
And they probably like that because it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just that was mad, but also sick. And then obviously it was just sick even having like, you've got like the Jimmy Butlers, the Jay Crowders around you, that it's just the Wesley Matthews. Yeah, like it was just nice for me, it's been nice to watch their journey. Do you get what I mean? Because I think like a lot of people kind of semi-counted them out.
Yeah.
But they were the ones, like, they all had the NBA bodies, like the people that you thought were going to make it necessarily. Yeah. And they did not make it. They've had brilliant careers overseas, but like to watch them now in the NBA.
Jimmy's playing in the playoffs right now.
It's just watching where Jimmy's come from is actually just sick. Like he deserves it all because he's like, when I say he's hard working, like he is. I used to be really like nocturnal. I never slept.
Yeah.
So Jimmy knew that. So he'd text me like, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like, "Well, it's 1:30 in the morning, Jimmy. Usually people sleep, but why? Yeah. What do you want?" Yeah. Be like, "Do you want to go?" Because we used to have 24-hour access to the app. We'll go whenever. He'd be like, "Do you want to go to the Al and get shots up?" And I'd be like,
"Might as well."
Yeah, I've got nothing else.
Yeah, I must have.
I said, "Does that really mean you want me to come and rebound for you?" He's like, "No, I'll let you shoot this time." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Cheers. So yeah, we used to do stuff like that. So I think that experience was really sick. I think though I got really spoiled at Marquette. Like we had like treadmills and pools, and we had physio. Yeah, we had all that stuff. So then when I actually graduated Marquette and I got my first gig in Iceland,
the difference between being in America university, you walk into the training room, you've got 25 trainers. Hey, can I help with you? What can you do? You know what? All three of us will go help you. I walk into my gym
with my shoes in my hand, and they're like, "Why are your shoes not?" And I'm like, "I need my ankles taped." And they're like,
Can I do it? I'll do it. You do one.
Oh no, but overseas they're like, "Okay, take your ankles." And I'm like, "Excuse me, what?"
I now know how to tape because I've gone to. It was Iceland as well. I'm in Iceland and I'm like, I need my ankles taped. They're like, "We don't have anyone to do it. We've got tape though." I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Then I'm trying to think, how did they do it in uni? Then I'm like, YouTube, let me watch.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I remember I called Kim. So Kim was actually a sports trainer. He used to teach that at JUCO. I remember calling Kim bro,
what do I do?
How do I tape an ankle? Is that what you mean?
Got pre-wrap.
And he was like, oh gosh. So he was talking me through all that. But yeah, I'd say that was the biggest shift for me because I was really spoiled at market. Even my dad was like, this is Manchester United standard. Like, this is wild what you get. And it is. You're so spoiled. Yeah. So spoiled. But in the best way possible. Gosh.
Yeah, to help you be the best athlete you
can
be.
My God, absolutely. And it's so funny when people say things about athletes and what they get paid. Like, if you knew the graph, it's actually wild. I used to get out of class and practice for 4 hours straight. Then from there, go to study hall. I'd have to be in study hall for 2 hours. And then maybe even after that, my coach would be like, you're all going to come back in. We're going to watch 40 minutes of film and then use a free to go. I'm free at 9 o'clock at night.
Even when it comes to what you got to eat.
Yep.
If your body's not right, you got to eat more. You're not hungry. You got to get your body taken care of. Your whole life literally revolves around it. So when I talk to people and they're talking about 10,000 hours, I'm like, that, to be honest, low key, that's the bare minimum. If you're really trying to do this, if we calculate the hours just to get to where we need to, 10,000 ain't even it, whatever.
And then you've got a 5 a.m. the next day. So I'm finishing at 9 and then I'm literally going home. And obviously, because you're a kid as well, you still want to do the socialising.
You're not going to bed at 10:30. So it might be, we're all going to meet in Jarrell's room, we're all going to chill and play cards and do this. Or we're going to all meet in my room. Or a couple of us are going to go down to somewhere and get some quesadillas. Or we're going to go to the shop because we want some snacks. And then like you said, we ain't going to the movies or something.
Yeah, we ain't going to bed at 10 o'clock. We are getting in bed at 12. We've got a 5 a.m. Then you're setting an alarm. Then you're waking up every hour because you're thinking, if I am late for this alarm, the way I and my team are running, so you're on edge. So you're waking up at 3 and you're thinking, you know what, fuck it.
It's mad because not many people can understand that because I've had practices at 4:45 a.m. And the thing is, when you're on campus, 4:45 a.m., it's I need to try go sleep around 12, because your body naturally won't go to bed at 9 o'clock. So it's okay, when will I start being tired? I'm going to go to bed at 12. The rest of the university don't care you've got practice at that time. They're active.
They're living their life. They are living their life.
So you're just And then you set your alarm and you're like, my body naturally doesn't wake up at 4 in the morning. And to have practice at 5, you got to wake up. It's not like you can wake up at 10 to 5, rolling, tired, shoes undone. Practice is started. Let's go.
You have to wake up at 4 because then the calculations used to be mad. I'd be like, right, guys, we've got a meet downstairs at 4:15. We can't be any later than 4:15. We'll all walk to the Al. At least we'll get to the Al for 4:30. It's a 15-minute walk. We're a bit tired. So at 4:15, we'll get downstairs by 4:17.
Yeah.
We'll have our 4:37. We'll have our shoes on by 4:45. We'll be 15 minutes early. Hopefully then coach won't cuss us.
Yeah. There used to be times coach used to walk in and see people yawn and he'd be like, you guys ain't ready. Bro, it's 4:45.
What are you talking about? Yeah. He'd be like, I've been up since. Fam, nobody cares about you.
You're talking about, let's hook it up today. Oh my God. And then you finish and we got to go straight to class. And blah, blah. And it's people don't understand.
And then they were like, you better not be late for your AM. Are you joking me? You've just made me run around this arena, then lift.
Yeah.
Then you want me to shower and get to class on time.
We finished at 7:30 and you're talking about, hey, whoever's got 8 a.m., you better not be. Bro, what about breakfast?
Yeah, that was me. I used to. So yeah, so then when I went to overseas, I played in Iceland.
Did you not want to do WNBA?
Do you know what? I had an agent, but do you know what I think it was? I could have gone for tryouts and could have gone and done all that. I had my heart really set on GB. I really wanted to play GB, and that summer. Yeah, so my coach actually got me a agent, and I got invited to. I think I got invited to some WNBA camp. It might have been in Phoenix, and I just remember at the time as well, my friend's mum had passed. And I just remembered, I just need to go home. And I will admit, I was really homesick. Really.
That's funny, coming from a girl that was I'm going to do summer school.
Yeah. I was just, I think, if I'm honest, I think by the time I'd finished, and then obviously that happened to my friend's mom, I just really wanted to be at home. I just really had this sense of I need to be at home, and if I play in Europe, it's literally 2 hours away. Like everywhere won't be that far, so I just wanted to come home. So then I played in Iceland, which wasn't
cold. The weather's mad.
It was cold. It was mad.
It's not what you was just experiencing
at all.
2 years.
So then from there, I went to Gran Canaria. I played for Gran Canaria. That was good because I got to play Euro Cup.
Okay.
And a little bit of Euro. I caught like the last couple of Euro League games, so that was really good to experience that level of basketball. And they'd always said in America, I was I could play European and I could play American.
Yeah, same.
I was a bit of both. So it was nice, and when I played in Europe, I was playing a little bit American, and they were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. For a European.
For a European, yeah. So that was good. And then from there, I played in Switzerland for a season. That was there. I got absolute buckets. The teams were not very great, but my stats were amazing. And then. Yeah, Iceland, Gran Canaria, Switzerland, and then I played in Turkey. I played in Mersin, and if I'm absolutely honest, when I got to Turkey, I think my basketball battery had started to wear out. It was starting to feel like a job, and that's when I was like, it was upsetting me because it was something I'd loved so much. I started to. And I missed in between all this. I played for GB. I got dropped from GB. I'm playing for GB again. I got dropped for GB. I'm playing for GB. I'm telling them I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Then somebody gets injured. I'm on the starting five. I'm smashing it. That player comes back. I'm now not good enough again. It was just a mind. Wow. They played mind games, and that is another story for another day. So then I think my basketball battery was starting to just really run out, and I was like, do you know what, I think I need to step away for a little bit. I need to go home and play, and just play where I can be at home and maybe get another job, because kind of like you now with your modelling, like you just need something else, because it was just not giving. It wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. And I just remember thinking, well, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want, everyone's like, be a coach. And I'm like, well, what's the point in stepping away? So I was like, what am I going to do? And then I remember, I thought, let me try something in beauty, because that is so, at the time, was so far from anything. I remember my dad always said, no matter what you do, if you're going to go into something else, a different career, it needs to be a transferable skill. It needs to be something you can take anywhere in the world. So then I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do? You know what I mean, Dad? I'm not a rocket scientist, so what am I doing? So then I remember thinking, oh my God, beauty, you can do that absolutely anywhere. And it's something, and it's a $1 billion industry, and it's something that women are constantly going to want. So that's when it was like, right, and I started playing for Sheffield, the Sheffield Hatters in the English League, and I started waxing, and that was nice, because it was like I was living at home, and I think it's the first time I'd also experienced home. You got to remember, I'd not lived at home, because every time I would come home, I wouldn't stay at home.
Quick trip, visit, hi, boom.
Yeah, every time I come back from Europe, I'd come back and then go to America, because I'd go visit my friend, because now I can actually live my life. So I'd come back, visit and then I'd go and live in LA for 3 months, or I'd go live and see Sharice in DC, Atlanta, whatever. So I remember I was just never at home. So this was like nice, because it was like the first time since 16 I can be at home. So.
And you're grown now as well.
Yeah, and I'm older now. I'm like, in my 20s. So that was nice. But yeah, I just think it just started to really wear me down. And then, if I'm honest, I got lucky, because then I met Ryan, and then it was where I was at the point in my life where I was like, I'm not actually that bothered about basketball. Like, I'm ready. I was in a good enough place where I was ready for a change. And then,
do you think you had like an identity crisis? Because remember, you started playing basketball at 8, and then now, when you're 8, 9, 10, you think you're literally going to be playing basketball till you're dead.
Oh, absolutely.
And then,
till you like,
and when you're listening to the older players who don't play anymore, in your head it's you wasn't good enough anymore, or whatever. I'm not going to be like you.
I'll never be you.
I'll never be you. Then they're like, yo, I'm choosing to step away because I want to do other stuff. And you're like, I thought you loved the game. So that's why when you were a kid, there's certain people that you look at who love the game. And when they aren't playing anymore, your brain literally can't fathom it, because you're like, other people, but you.
But I don't think we realise, I think for me, mentally, like I'm saying, with all the GB stuff, and all the politics around it, even politics surrounding English basketball, because I've just never been given my flowers in this country at all. Yeah, I just think I was just so sick of it. I was over it mentally. I was just, and then I got dropped from the Olympic team over some BS, and I was just like, what am I, like, I'm giving you so much. I've given this sport so much. I just need to step away. And it's funny because now I'm a bit older, I realise it was actually never the sport. The sport I still love to death. I love basketball to the death. It is the people in it. It's the people. But yeah, I met Ryan at the last time at the best time, and do you know what? I actually don't think I had like an identity crisis, because I think I was ready to step away. Like I said, I was playing for Sheffield. Me and Ryan were dating, and then after 2 years of dating, that's when I fell pregnant with Hendrix. And I think the one thing I did was just took. You know how we were saying, you know, basketball was our life.
Yeah.
We'd live, drink, ate, slept basketball. When I got pregnant, it was the first time in my life I was like,
something else.
Wait, time out. So you're telling me my life don't have to revolve? Like, I can eat whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. Like, I can just be a pregnant lady. And obviously I took that a little bit too literal, and we all know how that ended. I got really, really big. But even now, I know I joke about that. Even just at that time, to embrace that, I didn't think but for the first time in my life, I wasn't in this regimented, eat this, do that, wake up, work out, go to the gym, come home, have a nap, get up, go to practice. It was just like, Ryan was still playing. So it was kind of nice to even be like a basketball girlfriend. Like, I can still enjoy the game with you, and you can come home and we can talk about the game, and
but I ain't gotta be.
But I don't have to be up and at practice and do this and do that. I will say I miss the team of it, and I guess after having Hendrix and dealing with like my postnatal depression and all that stuff, I really lost, after having a baby, who was Lauren. So I think then I went back to basketball, and that semi helped me find myself again. In the sense of just having something that was Lauren. I've become like Lauren the mum, Lauren the girlfriend, and Lauren the daughter. I just completely forgot who Lauren was. And I think basketball I went back, I had Hendrix in the September, and I went back to playing in the January, and I feel like I semi came home to myself then. I realised like, oh, okay. And it was nice. And I recently, before I fell pregnant again, I started playing again, and it was nice. That was nice, because I wasn't Lauren.
Pressure.
I wasn't Lauren the fitness coach. I wasn't Lauren the PT. I wasn't Lauren the mom. I went to practice, and I was just low. You play ball. Like,
you never put as much pressure on yourself. It's crazy that you talk about that, because obviously I left basketball, came back, and it was just like I had to have a couple times where I was like, "Do you even like basketball anymore?" Like, go to the park where you're not putting up shots because you got to get ready for the season. Do you just want to listen to music and play like you was when you was 11 with just you just wanted to play, and you was visualizing, like, having fun? And I was like, it's actually not basketball that I hate, which I actually thought it was. It's these motherfuckers in it.
Yeah,
like, I hate them, the politics, this, that, and the other. So and
you don't realise, and I will say, it's not even overseas basketball, it's English basketball. It's actually, in such a way, is so toxic and so jarring, because we only champion the same people and the same teams. We only shout out this team, and we only rate this player, and this player is amazing, and it's just the same 2 or 3 people, and it's not, and it never seems to be, in my opinion, it's never fair. It's never let's look at the numbers.
The thing is, when you throw the ball up in those 4 lines, that's the only time it's fair.
To you?
Yeah, because you guys' opinion out there literally means nothing when I'm going to prove what needs to get proven. But then as soon as we step off the court, regardless of what's happened, you could kill that person, but because they're a favourite, it's that person had 6 points, but did you see that one assist? Had 45? You won't get the flowers, but it's like, in that space of time, in those 2 hours, I don't care about all the rest of you, like, you muppets. This is my time, and it's interesting you say that. So let's go back to, now you transition from Lauren, a basketball player, you're a mum, first time mum. What was that like? Because a lot of women go through this, go through motherhood, and a lot of women don't get to talk about it, and you was very open with what you was going through, and I think that's amazing for like young girls who are gonna be, or older women that have had children that don't know how to talk about it or what they've been through. Like, what was that?
I think
and a lot of men don't understand it from a woman either.
I think for what it was for me, the reason I did start speaking about it is because just about my whole journey was because after I had I think when you're a woman, you're supposed to give birth to this human being and automatically just fall in absolute love, and unicorns and fairies are supposed to fly out of their ears and arseholes, and it's supposed to be the best thing in the world. And it just wasn't. I remember thinking, I've made such a bad mistake, and
something wrong with me.
And I used to think, but I've wanted nothing but to be a mom. Why do I feel this way? And then it was just because it's just really hard. And it's funny, the other day I heard somebody explain it, and this is the perfect way. When you become a mom, you are giving, honestly, your blood, your sweat and your tears, and that's not even just a cliche saying. You are literally, there's times I cried when I'm changing nappies. These times I have been so sweaty because I've ran to the bathroom to get something because he's just pooed all over the carpet, and now I've got to run to the bedroom and get a nappy and and it's just mad what you have to go through. You give everything to this person, and it's literally the first time in your life you get nothing back off this person. It's and it's not even a thing of like every relationship you have should be a give and take, but as when you get older, it kind of is when you're in a love relationship. You love this human and you don't feel anything.
They just take it.
You just take it.
And sometimes they're not even accepting what you're giving.
Yeah, because they don't know what they want. So then they're just take, and obviously you're like, well, what more do you want? And it was really, really hard. And I just remember one time I was trying to it sounds really stupid, I was trying to look on Instagram at celebrities and just someone I just needed someone I could relate with. I remember I read Chrissy Teigen put something out about postnatal depression. I thought, I kind of feel like that. And I remember I ended up going to the doctor and I got diagnosed with postnatal depression. And I remember saying to Ryan, I really feel to start it was like back in the day as well, 5 years ago, blogs were kind of becoming a thing. I remember saying to Ryan, I'm no writer, but I feel like if I blog about this experience and there's somebody online looking for somebody, they might find me and it might help. He was like, and you know what Ryan he champions everything I do. He's like, do it, babe, do it. And
how was that being with your partner, talking about how you feel in terms of postnatal depression, not even understanding that you've got postnatal depression, feeling a little bit ashamed of how you think motherhood's supposed to make you feel? Obviously Ryan's got a child before. All them thoughts going through your head, how did you even get yourself to the doctors?
See, I am really lucky with the human I chose to have a child with, because as much as Ryan is really logical and really, for lack of a better word, insensitive, but not on purpose, because he's so logical it comes across as insensitive. He is really, 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 really understanding. And he would be at work and I'd text him and just say, and me and Ryan, to be fair, have always had a really open our communication hasn't been the best, but when it comes to talking, we've been very open with each other. That's why I love him to death. He is the only man I've ever been my whole self with. That's why we've been together for so long. Like any other man before him, not even as a joke, doesn't count, but it doesn't, because I can be my authentic self with Ryan, which I really value so much. And I remember one time he was at work and I just remember messaging him and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm in the bathroom crying. He's like, what's wrong? And I was just like, Ryan, I just think we've made a really big mistake. And he was like, what do you mean, babe? I was like, I just don't think we're ready for this. Like, you are, you've got a daughter, but I just don't know if we are. And he was like, okay, explain, why do you feel that way? And I would just remember saying and I remember saying things like, he just keeps crying. He'd be like, okay, he's a baby. Just newsflash, they cry. And I was like, okay. He was like, and I don't know what he wants. He was like, yeah. I remember him saying, but have you done the 3 checks? And he used to say, did he need feeding? Did he need the toilet? And did he need burping? He used to say to me, or is he warm enough? you done them 3 checks. Let the youth cry. You're crying for stupidness because I don't know what you're crying for.
Yeah.
And I was like,
you're fine.
Yeah, like, you've got everything you need and you're just crying to cry.
Yeah.
I remember him saying that and he said, like, okay, yeah, true. And I just remember saying, but I just feel sad. I feel like
I just want you to be okay.
I should be happy and I'm just sad all the time and I can't explain or put into words why I feel this way. And he was like, babe, if you feel, go to the doctor. Like, I can only, and bless him, Ryan's a fixer, so he wants to fix everything.
Yep.
And I think this was the one time he actually thought, you know what, no, you need to try and do this yourself. So I went to the doctor and they offered me medication. And obviously the athlete in me was like, no, I can be postnatal depression by myself. And I just thought, I'm not obviously the hairy fairiness in me, I'm not a tablet taking person, and I didn't take pills throughout my whole pregnancy. Even if I had a headache, I wouldn't take a paracetamol because in my head I was like, well, if I take one in labour, it'll extra work. I was like, that's not how it works, but okay. So I was like, no, I'll be able to get through this. Like, I know I'm strong enough. I need to just kind of, this will be good for my mind if I can beat this. Because I've been through like Olympics. When I got dropped, I was severely depressed after that, and I dug myself out of that hole. And I thought, I've been in these holes before. I need to dig myself out. So yeah, I went to the doctor. They said all that, and to be fair, Ryan was just really supportive. Like, he just was like, if you need help. And that was something else. Any mama will say, if you need help, this time around, I need help.
Taking everything.
I will call you and say, Kofi, I'm struggling with this baby. I need to take it. I'm not ashamed, I think, and that's another thing. I think in the first time you think, you know, I should be able to handle this. No, you shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't have to handle anything just because you're a woman, and you should be the best mom in the world. Like, you're a great mom regardless of any of that. Like, if you need to ask for help, just ask for help. And so then got to the doctors. I just booked myself and I went in and I just explained, and he was like, yeah, you have got it. And then I think the blogging was then my therapy. I just started blogging and writing about it and just speaking very honest, open and honest. And if people judge me, and if I'm honest, I'm with Ryan, who honestly does not care what a single human thinks of me. He's like, do they pay my bills?
Facts.
Yeah, and I'd be like, you know, and I used to be like that. I'll admit, like, I used to really care what other people thought about me. And Ryan was like, I don't care about none of them people. Did they pay my bills? Are they my friends? Are they my family? I don't care about them people. And I think that's what really helped me. So and then if I'm honest, the putting it out on socials, putting it out on Instagram, the amount of mums that was in my DMs and was like, oh my gosh, because I just used to say things like, I'd just be really honest, like, today's been a shit day, I've hated being a mom. And they'd be like, oh my God, thank you. Like, then there'd be other days where I'd be like, me and Hendrix had the best days today. He's my best mate, I love him. And then I'd be like, do you know what, I've had a great day, but I don't really think he likes me. And that's fine.
Funny because that's so relatable to, like, behind the scenes of what actually goes on in parenthood. Like, I'm not a parent, but I've got a lot of friends.
You've been around enough,
Yeah, it's like, also, I live in a real world. Not everything's going to be perfect all the time. So when you have these expectations, I'm sure in parenthood, like, man, like, it's same with, like, basketball. When you're young, the whole journey is going to be perfect. You don't even think about what can go wrong. Same with parenthood, same with everything, jobs. So I understand. And
I think for me, which also kind of made everything a little bit more difficult becoming a mom, I was also a stepmom first. I was a bonus mom first, which that journey is wild. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever.
Do you think it helped with your transition to being a parent? Because not having any children is a certain way, but then taking care of one. Having your own.
Do you know what? Yeah, I would say it's helped me in the sense of, like, looking after a child, like, because I've got Lay.
Did you realise that you had more skills than you thought? Because up until that point, you didn't have any children to take care of.
Yeah.
Now you're doing hair, food, and...
Well, do you know what? It's funny, because right before I met Ryan, my teammate, Steph Gandy, her and her girlfriend had twins. And at the time, because this was, like, just before the Olympics, me and Steph were actually... Basically, Steph was like, you move in with me, because we were, like, working out with Anthony Joshua's coach, boxing coach, and he was based in Sheffield, Hallam. So we were like working out with him. So Steph was like, just come stay with me in the week, because I played for Sheffield anyway. We had a practice on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So I'd practice on a Thursday, go home with Steph. We'd go and work out on a Wednesday. And then on a Thursday, we'd go work out, come home, and then go to practice. And then on a Friday morning, we'd work out with the coach. And then I'd go home, and then we'd have a game at the weekend, or I'd just stay at Steph's. Yeah. But then Becky had twins. So then that kind of was a little bit of an introduction, because I had them babies around. And then I guess it was a bit different when I think with Ryan, obviously I got thrown in, because then you've got not just Ryan, you've got another parent. Yeah. Which I can sit here and admit now, because I'm not too proud. There's a lot of things in the beginning I thought I was doing the right thing, because I'm not a nasty person.
In terms of being friends with the other parent, or taking care of the child.
Yeah, I'd say we're trying to be good friends. We're trying to be friends with Lay's mom. With trying to
keep everyone happy.
And if I'm honest, like, and I can understand now, like, so when Lay was here, I would really try and keep her mum involved, which I can now see from the outside in. It kind of might have looked like I was rubbing it in your face, but I wasn't, because I'm not a bad mind person. That would never be. I've not been brought up that way, but I can honestly now see, I'm not an idiot, how that might have looked, where I now think, that's probably why you're a bit of a knob, because I probably was coming across like, we're doing this today, but it wasn't like, we're doing this today. In my head, I used to look at it and think,
I've got your child, I want to make sure you just not like you involved.
And I think my head was like, if I was a mom and I wasn't, you never think of, you never become a mom and think, oh, I'm going to have my child 50% of the time, or there's going to be a weekend I never have her. Like, you never think like that. So in my head, I used to think, well, I'll send you the pictures and I'll let you know what we're doing. And I guess it probably did come across like I was being a bitch, and I wasn't. I genuinely, and I can say that hand on my heart, on my child's life, I was never being that way, but I can honestly see how it could have come across that way. I was just trying and do the best in a situation. And if I'm honest as well, I created zero boundaries, because as well I thought, well, I don't want to have boundaries on my side, because I don't want you to think I'm being closed off, because that's your child. Like, I don't want you to ever think. Also, then I guess as well, as much I was trying so hard to not tread on people's toes, I was treading on people's toes. You're gonna regardless. I've realised you can't make everybody happy in the situation. Someone's always going to be upset. I think one of my followers actually messaged me the other day and saying she's soon to get married to her partner, and he's got a kid. They've been together for like as long as me and Ryan, and she was just saying, like, what advice would you give? And it was just mad, because somebody's not asked me that in a really long time, and I think now in the place that I'm at, I would say just put the kid first, always. And that's always what I've tried to do, no matter who I upset. If I upset Ryan, if I upset his family, his mom, his whatever, upset her child. If she is happy and she is not the child is happy, there's no harm on that child, I can't, that's all I can do. And I will say, your feelings as a step parent will always be last. So get therapy or self-care yourself, because no one else is going to do it. I think there's been times when Ryan's not realised, oh, sorry babe, and it comes with it, unfortunately. But I will just say that. But I think that's what kind of made my journey into motherhood a little bit
smoother.
No, a bit harder, I'd say. Really? In the sense of, I think because mentally, I think the momming bit was a breeze, if I'm honest. I think because I'd done it with Lay, and then I've got Henny, and I could juggle the two. That was all right. It was just the mental bit surrounding it, because now I'm trying to juggle your feelings and your feelings and your feelings, and I'm with juggling them, I'm trying to juggle mine, and then it was just a lot. But boundaries. That's now me at 33. I'm like, absolute boundaries.
There you go. Boundaries.
And like I said, there's times in step parenthood, I know I've probably said the wrong things, done the wrong things.
Human though, innit?
You're human, innit? Yeah.
People do stuff, and as long as you're trying and you're coming from a good place, that's all that really.
Exactly, and that's why I think my conscience can be clear now, because I know nothing I ever did.
Bad mind.
Yeah, when I was coming from a horrible place, I was just always coming from a place of love and just, you know what I mean, love and just trying to. Obviously, in my head, I was like, I'm that person as well. that I just want everything to be like a movie sometimes. Like I want us all to get along, be the one traps. Do you know what I mean? Let's live in a massive big house and all wear curtain clothes. Like, do you know what I mean?
Just chill on the sofa and all eat pizza.
So, do you know what I mean? That like, I just want that to be real life, but it's just, I've learned now that as I've gotten older, it's not. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's what kind of, I think also my postnatal depression, because I was putting so much pressure on myself from other aspects. I think now, as I'm older and I've grown, I've dealt with my own demons that I had, because I had stuff, like I said, from the GB team, with being like racially discriminated with that team and stuff like that I've had to deal with. And then I think like the stepmom thing and a bit of guilt. Have I said the wrong thing? Have I done the wrong thing? Did I do that wrong? Have I upset this person? I don't want to upset that person. Do they, like, you know what I mean? Have I met, just stuff like that. And then, have I been a rubbish mum? Have I dropped the ball here? Have I done this here? But now as you're getting older and you realise everybody is going through something.
Everyone.
Everybody. That's why you've got to be nice to everybody. You got to set your boundaries, and you've honestly got to take care of your own mental health. Like, you live in here 100% of the time. Make it a nice place. And I always say this, you're going to have your days that aren't great days. And I say, and that's good. I think your down days, you shouldn't dwell on. You should. I always describe it to people as, have them days. Pack your bag of sadness or whatever it is, go there. It's like a hotel. Go there, and don't unpack there though. Don't unpack there, and because when you unpack there, you get comfortable. You want to stay there. That's when you start doing this. And I try and say, like, have it, be in that place, and if you're gonna unpack it. Right, okay, what is this feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Try and talk yourself through it. Try and understand that feeling. Put it back in the bag. Right, next thing. And then don't live there, and then move on, because then I think your down days are important, because it makes you appreciate your up days so much more, because you remember like where, and I know it sounds really cliche, but you like remember being not like at rock bottom, but you remember those days where you feel a bit crap. So when you're feeling good, you can be like, you know what, I remember when.
Yeah, sometimes you don't remember when the times that you thought you didn't have the strength, you've been got something to, you know what I mean?
Exactly, and I think it's important to have them days to be able to analyse, self-assess, understand why you are feeling that way, to navigate those feelings. And then as you get older, and you know what, as I get older, I'm learning we as humans are so complex, and everybody is going through something completely different. And I was saying to a friend the other day, because she was saying like, oh, her and one of our other friends, them two aren't quite seeing eye to eye at the moment, and you know, she was like, I tried to sit down and I tried to have a conversation with her, and you know, she didn't really say much. And I said, but just because you were ready to sit down at that moment in that time, because you've navigated your feelings and you've come to the conclusion of, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say X, Y, and Z. That person, it takes people a lot longer to get on that train. It takes people a lot longer to get there, and it's unfair. It's slightly unfair and selfish of you to expect that we should be on the same, just because we're friends, we should be on the same time, because what you've got going on, what I've got going on, it's two completely different things. And I think once we start understanding that and not trying to navigate your feelings via other people's and Ryan, I've took this from Ryan, just stop caring what other people think. I think you just can make your life a lot lighter and your mental a lot lighter. Like, it's easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done. But I think if you just take a little time, like I've started this pregnancy really trying to meditate. Like I've really tried to, like, I will admit I've not done it every single day, but if I can have like a couple of minutes, anything,
just like peace,
where I can just be peaceful and just be in my own head, but not in my own head negatively, be in my own head, and it be a peaceful environment.
Center yourself.
Yep, I can just breathe. I'm not thinking of the washing. I'm not thinking of food. I'm not thinking of the kids. I'm just literally thinking of, as stupid as it sounds, breathing. Yeah, just breathing. I can just literally think of the air going in my nose and out my mouth, and that is it. And when my mind wanders, I bring it right back. I think that's just really, really important for people to just really get to know themselves. And I think that's what, as you get older, you kind of, and all your life experience, you forget yourself. And I just advise everyone to get a therapist.
100%. I had to do that too.
Yeah, I think you go to the doctor if you've hurt your ankle, oh, you go. So if your brain's hurt, which is pretty much
that this
the most important, like,
this gets left to last,
and it's just wild that you don't. It's not something that's pushed. Like, even the other day, I was saying to Ryan, no, it wasn't. It was my dad. I was explaining to my dad because the doctor called me about this pregnancy, and I was just really adamant I don't want another C-section. And she was like, may I ask why? And I was like, because I don't think C-section women are supported. She's like, well, what do you mean by that? I was like, you act like a C-section is literally like getting your belly button pierced. It's just quickly, like, it is major surgery. It's up there with a tummy tuck, BBL, like major surgery. You've cut through my uterus and my abs, like, you've cut through my belly, and I don't get physio after that. You get told to wear some socks so you don't get clots in your legs, and then, you know, after 3 months do a little bit of light working out and then go from there. Like, you don't get, like, you should have a plan.
Support.
Oh my gosh, it should be support mentally. And that's what, and I said to her, no, because it was so hard. Well, what do you mean? Hon, I couldn't pick up my child without assistance. That is no wonder I was depressed.
Yeah.
I'm waking up to breastfeed my child, which I couldn't do, which you didn't tell me I couldn't do because my child lip tied. Yeah. But that's another story. But I'm having to wake up my boyfriend because I physically can't turn. I'm picking up because I can't turn. Crazy. I'm going to sleep like this, and I'm waking up and I'm going, Ryan, and I can't get up because my abs don't work because I've been like, I'm having to wake up Ryan to the point then he can see me in pain and he's like, babe, I'll get a bottle. Like, I'll get a bottle. You expressed earlier, it's fine. I'll go into the lounge and I'm feeling like, go back to sleep. And as much as that's helpful, I'm not cussing him. It also makes you like,
you want to do it? Like,
yeah, and I know, and I'm not, that's not me saying anything bad. It was honestly absolutely helpful, but it's still like, that's mentally like
your personal journey.
Yeah, as much as I love, like, okay, yeah, I want you to do that, but
I prefer to do it myself.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, because I can't move. I can't walk straight for like weeks on end.
Wow.
It's major surgery, and that's what I said to her. I said, absolutely not. I said, or if I do get a C-section, I want you to write to my GP and I want to get physio.
Oh, you're doing my physio?
Yeah, because it's just like, we're just not supported, and so I said no. I want it to come out the other way, so because that's a quicker recovery.
So you've gone through motherhood and all that. Where did Mumbod come about? Because now you've gone from basketball player to now entrepreneur, and obviously you've got Snatched by Lo in the back. So what's your transition to that?
So Mumbod was really because I had all these mums reaching out to me
because of the blog and all
because of the blog and stuff like that, and not even necessarily just mums. I had like just other women that also just felt, because I spoke a lot about my body, because my body changed a lot after Henny. I had loose skin on my belly, I've got stretch marks everywhere, and I had to come to terms with loving that new body. I've always had this athletic frame, and now all of a sudden I've got this like mum bod, which isn't praised in society. It's like, you got a mum bod. So I was speaking to all these mums, and I just remember saying to Ryan, I just want to create a brand that is inclusive. Even though it's called Mumbod, it's not about a mumbod. It's about the female body. It's about the bod. It's about how in society, oh gosh, if you're skinny, you're too skinny. If you're fat, you're too fat. If you know what I mean. If you've got stretch marks, you've got too many. If you've got, it's always something. Like if you've got spots, it's not. If you've got acne, it's a bad thing. If you've got this, if you've got that, and it's just, nothing's ever just, you just are. We're always, as women, scrutinised, and, you know, your bum's not big enough, or your boobs are too small, or your boobs are too big, or your boobs are never right. It's never what's the right size. Do you know what I mean? Is a C too big? Is a D too big? Or is it an A? Do you know what I mean?
And
like
with fashion,
like
stuff,
clothing, and I just wanted to create a brand that was just a brand that celebrated women, no matter your shape, your size, your ethnicity, where you live, your background, whether you have had the greatest background coming up, or if you've had to struggle, no matter what it is, you stand and you are proud in the body that you're in. And that's just what created Mumbod, really. I just wanted it to be that. I just wanted it to embody that, everything I just said. And then we yeah, we launched that, and then Snatch by Low kind of just organically happened via Mumbod. Yeah, so COVID happened, and I just remember, because when I got my postnatal depression, I got also diagnosed with anxiety, which, if I'm honest, probably had my whole life. They just finally was like, you got. When they told me that, I was like, yeah, bitch, I know that. Yeah. I've had that my whole life. Yeah, and but it got to a point where it was really bad. Like, I'd start crying in Morrison's. Like, I'd get overwhelmed at even like a tiny decision, and I'd just be like, Ryan, and then I'd have a panic attack. So yeah, basically, lockdown was happening. Or it hadn't happened yet. It was when Boris was in the talks of, we're going to shut the country down. We might not shut the country down. We're going to shut it down. And I remember saying to Ryan, I'm really anxious about this. And I was also anxious because at the time, so Hendrix is a sickle cell carrier. Okay. And it wasn't until I'd had this baby, we found out, we thought I was the carrier, because Ryan must have asked his mum, and his mum was like, well, it's not you. You've had tests. We found out now it is Ryan. Oh. So from this baby, we just thought it was me. So then I remember speaking to my GP, because it was in that whole thing of you had to kind of isolate if you had cancer or, anything like that, you were at risk. So I remember asking my GP, like, I know people with sickle cell had to self-isolate, but carriers, they weren't sure yet. So I'm like, okay, well, my son's a carrier. I'm sending him to nursery and I'm going to work. Like, I need to know what's going on. So I remember that had me on edge. And then Boris shut the whole country down. And I used to, when I was really struggling with postnatal depression, I struggled as an athlete. It was weird. Trying to get back into working out in the gym, oh my goodness, was just mentally so hard. And I think it was so hard for many different reasons. I think it was hard because I'm now going back to the gym with this new body that I'm a bit self-conscious of. I'm now going back to the gym, and I'm not doing box jumps and leaping around. I'm doing like the elliptical and the bike. And,
it's different working out.
And two dumbbells. I don't know what that is. I'm used to doing box jumps, ball slams against the wall. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm used to doing all that. So I'm not training like an athlete. I'm training like a person that just is going to the gym. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know how to navigate that. So I just had loads of anxiety around the gym and working out. So I remember I used to do these things every Wednesday. I used to call them a workout party. And Instagram just started doing lives. So I was like, let's have a workout party. And it used to be like 15 to 20 people would come in, and I'd just do we'd do like a rep of squats, a rep of lunges, some squat jumps, some running on the spot, and then we'd have like a glass of wine. You know what I'm like. We'd have a glass of wine. We'd chit chat while we're doing this. It was just a place where mums could come, get a little bit of movement in the body, and still have like the wine. And obviously, and if you want bitch about your kids, it was an open room to just go off. If you've had a good shit day, let us know. And I started doing them, and there'd be days I'd be like, guys, I can't do a workout party today. My mental is, I'm just on the floor, like, I can't do it. And they'd be like, it's fine, we're there as well. So I said to Ryan, I might bring the workout parties back, And he was like, good idea. Like, people are going to be in the house. You might get them through. And I remember I put something on my Instagram, you can do them polls. And it was like 100% yes, no one said no. And like, it was something like 1,500 people on my story voted. And I was like,
it's a decent amount.
I was like, maybe I need to do this. So I remember I did like my first one, and there was only about 7 people that joined it, because I must have done it like really early in the morning. At that time, some people were still going to work. So I remember I started that. He'd not done like the work from home thing yet. So I was like, cool. I was like, I'm just going to do it tomorrow. And I did it tomorrow, and more people started to join. And then obviously you had to work from home if you could work from home type of thing started. But for me in the pandemic, because I worked at the hospital, my days didn't change. I still I had to go to work. I worked in the hospital. So I didn't get furlough or anything. Ryan did. I didn't. So I just started doing these workouts every single day, and they just started saying snatch by low. We're getting snatched by low. We're getting snatched. And it was simply not even to push like to change your body. It was more to push like just your mental, and that's what Snatch is still about. Obviously now we have people in there that want to gain weight, that want to lose weight, that want to maintain the weight, that just had a baby, and want to just get the body moving, that are pregnant and want to do it. It's for literally anybody, but most importantly, it's a placed in an environment that is judgment free. If you come and you are there just for the vibes, sit down, have a glass of wine, and stay for the vibes. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not a pressure, because I do know as well, like a lot of PTs and fitness people are like, we've got to burn 500 calories and we've got to do this many squats, and that is just not my journey. Like, even as an ex-athlete and as a mom, like, huns. Yeah, if anything now it's more like, we've got 1 hour away from the kids, let's get it. Like, let's work this out, and let's and it's funny because it's called snatch, but and people think, oh, it's to just get skinny, and it's so funny because I've had so many riders, well, that's what they self-name themselves as well, so many riders that like have wanted to put on weight, and I don't think people talk about that. Like, fitness isn't just about losing weight, wanting to get skinny.
Facts.
Yeah, fitness is about people want to put on weight, and I don't think people understand that. Like,
it's about getting your body to where you want it to be, whether
you
that's
want it
put
to
on
be
weight, shaped or toned, or
and that is completely different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's funny, through the lockdown, Rihanna and Ryan were home all day, so them two's diet was wild. If they didn't have Snatch by Low, they would have been huge.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, we're just in it for the vibes and to maintain, because we are living our life when you're not here. And I was like, do you know what? Live your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that, yeah, Snatch just like organically grew from the lockdown, really, and we've now been going for 100 weeks. This week is our 100th week. Yeah, consistently been going. I'm 24 weeks pregnant, and
don't get twisted. She's still doing the workouts pregnant.
Yeah, I've worked out pretty much every day, unless I've been in the beginning when they didn't really know. Ryan would take some, but that's because I was so sick. But even that for me now, working out pregnant
helped a lot.
But helped mentally so much. Not even like I'll admit I overindulged a lot when I was pregnant with Henny. I'm not doing that this pregnancy, but just mentally, like Ryan even asked me the other day, like, babe, how are you doing? Like, how are you doing? And I was like, honestly, if I didn't have Snatch, and I'm not just saying that, or just somewhere to go every day, I do think I'd have prenatal depression.
The thing with like working out, like even like me, an athlete, not playing anymore, working out was my life.
It's so
important.
Then
to just be doing modelling, and really I don't have to work out if I don't want to work out.
Yeah.
One day in a month, I don't really need to.
But I don't think people realise how important it can be for your mental.
Oh, like now I work out, and like I just feel like a sense of I'm coming in, I'm burning stuff, I'm mentally getting my body right. I feel I got somewhere to go. I'm going in the right direction. Like, working out is just so great for like so many people.
Oh my gosh. And that's what I think for me, this pregnancy, it's real. I think because I was so ill, we've had outside dramas. I think working out has really saved me from going down that dark hole of going through prenatal depression and getting really low. I've had days, don't get me wrong, through this pregnancy where I've been really low and I've cried and I've just not been happy, and I've been really sad. I can admit that. But I think for this, I think working out has helped me. It brings me back. Like, the times I've gone into the workout, and the riders will never know, I've been bawling my eyes out just because I've just been sad. And then I've got in the workout afterwards, I'm just like, I feel so much better again. And I just think I think for pregnant women, it's something that's not pushed because it's, you shouldn't do it because you're pregnant, you're carrying a baby. No, I think it's really, if we pushed more women. And it's not even working out. I think people think working out needs to be a 40-minute hit session. Yeah. Working out, like I said to my riders, working out can be a 10-minute
Pilates or yoga.
It can be. I do 10-minute quick hits, which is literally marching. The next round is squats. The next round squat.
You can get a lot done in 10 minutes. You do it right.
Trust me.
You don't need 2 hours.
Trust me. And I think people get that confused with working out should be this. And I think that's a lot of the fitness world has done that to people. Working out needs to be on your Apple Watch, say 500 calories burnt. No, it doesn't. No. Even if you burn 130 calories in 10 minutes, it doesn't even matter. As long as you've done, mentally, you'll feel so much better. And it's funny, in Snap, we call it sweat drops, so we don't even call it calories. We say, we've burnt like 400 sweat drops today. And I just think if that was pushed more for pregnant ladies, even women after they've had a baby, not even to that, after your 6-week check when they say, you can do a little bit of working out. no, I think it should be encouraged. Like, yep, you can go for walks now. You can do this. Like, try and at least get in a couple of walks a week. If it's just encouraged more, it won't make women feel so, oh, I feel like this after. You know what I mean? It just, I think, just mentally, and it's just nice to don't even take the baby. Just go and do it on your own. Like, we were having a chat. We've got a challenge going on at the moment, and we've got like these Sunday check-ins. And one of the riders felt a bit like bad for saying it, but she was like, you know, my daughter's now, I've been doing snatch from the beginning with you in lockdown, and my daughter's almost like, she's like conditioned now to like, and I was like, she's like, oh, that's an awful thing to say. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, the hour you're away from her, she needs it just as much as you.
Yeah,
like, and as long as they're not swinging from the curtains and doing themselves any harm, like, my kids now know. It's funny in the beginning because somebody else in that chat was like,
it's so time.
They know,
do your thing.
And it's funny because somebody said, you know, in the beginning, Hendrix and Leigh used to be in the mall. Like, when you were in the flat, they were in every single one.
They're on the iPads now, PlayStation.
PlayStation. They're watching a movie. They're drawing. They know that for that hour, Mom is not around. We can just do something. We can live our life. Like, even Hendrix the other day came to the Mummy, I need a drink. Go and make a drink. You know how to make a drink. You're fine.
Times it comes to me is like, Uncle Cole, you want to play FIFA? I'm like, why? He's like, Mum is doing snatch or working out. Yeah, come, let's go. Like, occupied. Like,
they know now, play. And I think it's healthy for you and them. Like I said, as long as they're not at risk or putting themselves in any danger, which, let's be honest, they more often won't be. They're not going to be running around with scissors. Like, oh, an hour free from Mum.
The separation anxiety is a huge thing.
Huge thing, and I think it's. I would say this to riders: don't feel guilt, because that's another thing mums is because of society that's been pushed into mums. If you're not being a mum, 24/7, 100% of the time, you're a bad mum. No.
Like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, no.
Just feel a person.
Absolutely, like, and you're allowed to have. I will admit that I do think mums never have a day off, mental load wise. Like, now I'm already thinking, is Hendrix' uniform washed? Has he got a jumper for tomorrow? Like, there's things like, which Ryan's not even thinking of. That's not in his mind. But again, that's to each individual, and I think that's your business, because that's my own fault. Like, why are you thinking about that right now in the podcast? Do you get what I mean? But I do think it's healthy to have that bit of separation. And it's funny because me and Ryan were saying it the other day. Like, when I go and visit my friends in London, or he like goes away for he went to that one extra thing, or we had like a model. Living together, we don't miss each other anymore. Like, we rarely ever just miss each other. Yeah, because you're with each other all the time. And then when we go away, I was like, oh my God, I miss missing you. Like, I love missing you. Like, I can't wait to get back. And I think that's good as well for your kids. It's healthy. So yeah, it's mad.
Do you have any advice for like anyone, like young girls, about sports, being a woman, like just speaking out, mental health, because it all like comes together? Have you got any advice for like young women that are...
Young women, I would say it's going to be hard. You as a young person are trying to navigate hormones which nobody even addresses. You're just being an attitude girl. Well, no, I'm 14 and I've got raging hormones going around my body. I'm coaching, I'm about to get my period that I don't even know what to do. I would say for any young girl that wanting to get into sport, I would say...
Because you played at high levels.
Yeah, I would say it takes hard work. It takes sacrifice. If you're not willing to do any of the above, don't do it. And I on my camps, I say this to the men and the women. If you're not willing to put in the work, and I'll break it down like this. So when I was in high school in England, after school, so my cousin at the moment's 14, and after school wants to go chill with her friends. I was the person that I'd see that and I'd be like, I'm gonna go home and do some ball handling with my dad. So I'd come home, and at the end of we had a car park at the end of our road. I'd go and do that instead. Like, that's the difference between wanting it and actually wanting it. I remember, I never forget, I heard once from an older player that you have to do the bleep test. And I remember coming home and saying to my dad, you need to download the bleep test. He was like, what? I was like, because what if I just got called up and then I need to run this bleep test?
That's actually a thing though, because when I got called up to GB, day one, bleep test, didn't even touch a ball yet.
And I remember saying to my dad, I need you to download it. I need to practice it. And he took me out to the car park, had it on a stereo, and we did the bleep test. It's those little things, I would say. Women, obviously, the world we live in, it's harder for us, always. Black women, it's even harder for us. But stay focused mentally. If I now had the mental knowledge and just the mental outlook on things, I would have had such a better career. But I think at the time I didn't realise how mentally I was suffering, how depressed I was, how I think even just having a therapist with being like away from home, just stuff like that. Like I said, navigating my 2 friends passing away. I just think if you can get a therapist, talk to somebody, it's not a shameful thing to have. Honestly, if I could go back in time, that even when I got with Ryan and I became a stepmom, I'd get a therapist.
I got a therapist at 30. Just
oh,
to be with me.
Trust me, my whole life. I would say that. And then mums that were athletes and if you're trying to get back to it, or you're now trying to find your sense of self, I would say just stop a minute and try and find something that is going to bring you back to you. And I can't tell you what that is. That's something you will have to figure out. But understand you're not the only one. There's another mum somewhere crying in the toilet with the door locked and the son is crying outside, because you think, just go away. And they're only 3 weeks old. It's absolutely natural. Don't feel guilty. But yeah, I would just say to young athletes, if you really, really want it, go for it. Don't let anyone tell you no. Be resilient in everything you do. I think that was me. I got dropped from the Olympics. I got dropped from GB, and I'll never forget. I got dropped from GB, came home, upset, devastated. My dad was like, so what are we going to do? And I was like, I'm going back next year. And my dad was like, what? I was like, I'm going back next year. And he was like, are you sure? My mum was like, no, you're not. They're not doing that to you again. I was like, I'm going back next year. You're taking me for a fool. I'm going back next year. Went back next year. Absolutely smashed it. Went back the next year. Absolutely smashed it. Even for the Olympics was because my face didn't fit, but even that, you want me to be this weight, cool. You want me to run this fast, cool. You want me to now be that way. And keep in mind, for the Olympics, I went from being a 2-3, he wanted me to be a point guard. I played for Sheffield, and I said to Vanessa, I'm not playing any other position, I'm playing point guard the whole season. I played point guard the whole entire season. It's coming from someone that didn't like I had to be a court leader, the court general. I'm now playing a different position. I'm having to run plays. I'm having to think of, right, I need Steph in that position. I need to move you there. It helped my game, but I thought I'll do it.
Just doing what needed to be done for
exactly.
Goals that you had.
But I just say you're going to have to be resilient, and yeah, black women.
What about just for women in general? Because obviously you're not just an athlete, you're not just a mom. What advice do you have for like just women in general? Because you've gone through so much. And you talk to women on a daily, you know what they've gone through, their problems, blah, blah, blah. Like, what advice do you think? Just a little bit, because obviously you're not going to be able to hit everything.
For just women in general, I'd say...
Because life's hard.
Yeah, I'd say... That's a really loaded question. What would I say to women in general? I'd say to women in general, live your truth, live yourself. Stop worrying about what the next person, even the next woman, is going to think of you. But even with that being said, women support women. It's tough enough already out here for us. It's tough enough just walking to the shop at 9 o'clock at night. It's not safe. I just think for women support women. Women champion other women. If we can get behind each other and we can support each other, honestly, incredible things can happen. So yeah, that would be my one advice to women. Don't hate on your other woman. Don't hate on that next girl, because you don't actually know what she's going on, and 2, for what? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think support each other. We're all in this together, and yeah, if we can, let's help each other get to the next level. Let's help each other to be better.
Definitely. Appreciate you being on here, man.
Thanks. That was a great little chat.
Definitely. There you go, guys. Another episode wrapped up. What's your socials so people can find you?
My Instagram is Lauren Thomas Johnson. So Thomas, not Thompson, Lauren Thomas Johnson. And I have a TikTok, which is Bad Girl Low, but that's just me acting a fool. You don't really need to be on there.
It's funny though.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And that's it really. I've only really got, I don't have Twitter or anything.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, what? That one's funny. Obviously, you just got Snatched by Low.
Oh yeah, Snatched by Low.
And Mumbud.
Sorry, yeah.
You gotta plug your team,
yeah,
man.
you know what I mean? I'm saying that I'm gonna do it and I didn't. Have this mumbud.com, and that's the website, or this Mumbud official. And then we've got Snatched by Low _ on Instagram. But to get into that, it's a gated community. You do have to sign up, but it's only £12.50 a month. Amazing workouts on there. The athlete in me, which is funny, every time I think this is going to be really easy, I say like, guys, this isn't going to be a hard one. They're like, Lauren, this is hard every time. I'm like, I can't help it. The athlete in me has to just smash it sometimes. But yeah,
it's a bit pointless when it's not. It's not a little bit challenging. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even now, like somebody said to me, why are you doing burpees at 6 months pregnant? I'm like, because I can, okay?
Yeah, just to see if I can.
Yeah.
But there you go. Guys, another episode wrapped up. Appreciate ya. WhyNotI. Peace out.